At 41 years old, standing at the starting gate with a torn ACL and everything to prove, Lindsey Vonn launched herself down the Italian slopes, knowing full well it could all go wrong. Seconds later, it did. What followed was a horrifying crash that would require not one, not two, but three surgeries, and end one of the most remarkable comeback attempts in Olympic history. The legendary Alpine skier had already defied the odds just by making it to the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina. After a 5-year hiatus from competitive skiing, Vonn returned to the sport she dominated for years, racking up multiple Olympic medals and World Cup victories throughout her storied career. Her announcement that she would compete in Italy sent shockwaves through the sports world, but what happened just days before the Games made her journey even more dramatic. During a World Cup race in Switzerland 1 week prior to the Olympics, Vonn completely ruptured the ACL in her left leg. For most athletes, this injury alone would spell the end of their Olympic dreams. The typical recovery timeline for an ACL tear spans months, sometimes up to a year. But Vonn was not most athletes. Despite the serious knee injury, she decided to push forward, telling reporters at her press conference that this would be the best comeback she had done so far, acknowledging it was definitely the most dramatic. The Friday and Saturday leading up to the women's downhill final on February 8 saw Vonn complete 2 practice runs on the course in Cortina, Italy. She was skiing with a completely torn ACL, relying on sheer determination, expert technique, and years of muscle memory to navigate the treacherous slopes. Her teammates and competitors watched in amazement as the veteran racer refused to back down from the challenge. Then came Sunday, the day that would define her Olympic return, though not in the way anyone had hoped. Just seconds into her downhill run, disaster struck. Vonn caught her ski pole on a course marker, a difference of mere inches that in downhill ski racing can mean everything. That tiny miscalculation caused her to twist, sending her tumbling through the air multiple times before she crashed hard onto the snow below. The images were difficult to watch. Medical personnel rushed to her aid as she lay motionless on the course. A stretcher was brought out, and soon after, a helicopter arrived to airlift her off the mountain. The somber scene sent chills through spectators and viewers worldwide who had been cheering for the American icon to defy age and injury one more time. Vonn was transported to Cafoncello Hospital in Treviso, Italy, where medical staff immediately assessed the damage. The diagnosis was serious. She had sustained a complex tibia fracture in her left leg, the same leg that had been compromised by the ACL injury just days earlier. That afternoon, she underwent emergency orthopedic surgery to stabilize the fracture, the first of what would become multiple procedures. On Monday, February 9, just hours after the crash, Vonn broke her silence on Instagram with a message that captured both her pain and her unshakable spirit. She wrote that her Olympic dream did not finish the way she had dreamt it would. It was not a storybook ending or a fairy tale, it was just life. She had dared to dream and worked incredibly hard to achieve her goal. But in downhill ski racing, the difference between a strategic line and a catastrophic injury can be as small as 5 inches. Vonn was adamant about one crucial detail. Her ACL and past injuries had nothing to do with the crash whatsoever. The accident was purely the result of catching her ski pole on that course marker, a freak occurrence that could happen to any skier regardless of their physical condition. She explained that while she sustained a complex tibia fracture that would require multiple surgeries to fix properly, she had no regrets about her decision to compete. Standing in the starting gate, she said, was an incredible feeling she would never forget. Knowing she stood there with a chance to win was a victory in and of itself. She also acknowledged that racing was always a risk, emphasizing that downhill skiing has always been, and always will be, an incredibly dangerous sport. The 5-time Olympian declared simply that she tried, she dreamt, and she jumped. Her sister, Karin Kildau, who witnessed the crash, spoke to NBC about the terrifying moment. Karin shared that seeing the accident was definitely the last thing they wanted to see, and when it happened, everyone immediately hoped Lindsey would be okay. Watching the stretchers being brought out was not a good sign, she admitted, but Karin also emphasized that her sister had put her whole heart into training for the 2026 Olympics and had dared greatly, putting everything out there on that mountain. The following day, Vonn engaged with supporters on social media, expressing gratitude to those who had sent messages of encouragement. When journalist Dan Walker credited her attitude as the very essence of sport after competing in Italy at the age of 41 with an injured ACL, Lindsey responded with a simple, "Thank you," alongside a prayer hands emoji. Walker's tribute on X captured what many felt about Vonn's courage, writing that it was not just about chasing glory but about defiance. "This was what sport looked like when you stripped away the polish," he explained. "It was not comfortable. It was painful, representing risk instead of safety." Walker continued by noting that Vonn knew she might not win. She knew it might hurt. She understood the risk and embraced it because not going down that mountain would mean surrendering to the things that stop you from getting out of bed in the morning. Great sporting moments, he pointed out, do not always finish on a podium. They are acts of courage. Athletes standing on the start line knowing it could be the last time, knowing it might go wrong, and launching themselves anyway. On Wednesday, Vonn revealed she had undergone a third surgery on her leg, sharing photos from her hospital bed along with an update on her recovery. She announced that the procedure had been successful, though success now had a completely different meaning than it did just a few days ago. She was making progress, and while it was slow, she knew she would be okay. Vonn expressed gratitude for the incredible medical staff, friends, and family who had been by her side, as well as the beautiful outpouring of love and support from people around the world. Even from her hospital bed, Vonn's competitive spirit shone through as she offered huge congratulations to her teammates and all of the Team USA athletes who were still competing, saying they were inspiring her and giving her something to cheer for. The gesture exemplified her character, shifting focus away from her own pain to celebrate the achievements of others. Dr. Mark Schultzel, an orthopedic surgeon and member of the Olympic team medical staff, spoke to NBC San Diego about the recovery timeline and the need for multiple surgeries. The fact that Vonn required multiple procedures likely meant she would be off her feet for quite a while. Dr. Schultzel explained that an external fixator was really meant to temporize things until she could have a definitive surgical fixation later on, allowing her soft tissue to recover and her swelling to resolve so plates could be placed inside the bone. That process would leave her off her leg for 6 to 8 weeks at minimum. The reality of Vonn's situation became clear as medical experts and fans alike began to process what this meant for her future in competitive skiing. The next Winter Olympics would not occur for another 4 years, which would put Vonn in her mid-40s by that time. While her determination and work ethic were never in question, a return to Olympic competition at that age seemed highly unlikely, especially considering the severity of her current injuries and the long rehabilitation road ahead. Throughout her career, Vonn had become synonymous with resilience and breaking barriers. She had overcome numerous injuries, setbacks, and challenges to become one of the most successful alpine skiers in US Olympic history. Her return to competition after 5 years away from the sport had already cemented her legacy as someone who refused to let age or circumstance define her limits. Now, even in defeat, she was teaching the world one final lesson about courage, vulnerability, and the true meaning of athletic greatness. In her Instagram post, Vonn had shared a powerful message about taking chances and daring greatly. "Life was too short not to take chances on yourself," she wrote. "Because the only failure in life is not trying." She told her followers that she believed in them, just as they had believed in her. Those words resonated far beyond the world of competitive skiing, touching anyone who had ever faced long odds or questioned whether a dream was worth pursuing. The outpouring of support from around the globe demonstrated the impact Vonn had made throughout her career. Fellow athletes, celebrities, and countless fans sent messages of encouragement and admiration. Many noted that while she did not win a medal in Cortina, her bravery in simply showing up to compete with a torn ACL represented a different kind of victory, one that transcended podium finishes and medal counts. As Vonn continues her recovery in the hospital, undergoing multiple surgeries and facing months of rehabilitation, her story serves as a testament to the human spirit's capacity to dream big, even when the odds are stacked impossibly high. She pushed her body to the absolute limit, knowing the risks, accepting the potential consequences, and choosing to compete anyway because the alternative would have meant living with the regret of never trying. The 2026 Winter Olympics will be remembered for many incredible performances and historic moments, but Lindsey Vonn's crash and the courage she displayed in the face of devastating injury will remain one of the most powerful stories to emerge from the Games. She reminded the world that sometimes the greatest victories have nothing to do with finishing first and everything to do with having the guts to step up to the starting line when every logical reason tells you to walk away. What do you think about Lindsey Vonn's decision to compete despite her ACL injury? Would you have taken the same risk for a shot at Olympic glory? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on Vonn's recovery journey and all the latest Olympic news.